Welcome back once more, and now, my favorite. I started reenacting as a BAR man because, well, it's really crappy deployment, and I decided to take care of myself when I got back. And sure enough, I spent a lot of money, and I got myself an Ohio Ordnance 1918 A3 SLR BAR rifle. And nothing has been the same since. Now, this thing is a beast. This is a 20-pound rifle as it sits right now. No magazine, no sling, nothing. One thing you will also notice is there's no carry handle or bipod. Typically, most people would ditch the bipod as soon as they could out in the field. It was heavy, it was unwieldy, it was obnoxious. I've tried using it, I hated it. Hated every minute of it, and sure enough, yeah, I ditched that sucker. The carry handle that you typically see wasn't really in World War II, so that's something you can just ditch automatically. Now, there are multiple different variants that you would see. Most of the first half-ish of the war were pretty much all World War I styled. So they had the longer foregrip, they had the different gas regulator, and they had the tube for a flash hider instead of the one that's designed for a bipod. Mine is more of a late war setup. This would normally be wood, as is this one, when they first came out, and then they started swapping them out with Bakelite. They are extremely expensive to run, but they are fantastic to use. So basically, in a squad setup, you would have one, maybe two, depending on how experienced your unit was with acquiring things. And everyone would try and supply this guy as best as you could. Now, you did have your own ammo pouch over here. 6 cells, 2 mags per. It's a lot of ammunition that you can hold. The bandoliers, I think, were more of a Pacific thing. I don't think they showed up much on the European side of thing. And what the bandoliers are is basically one side of that with a strap that was typically more World War I make. And then I've not seen a lot of those. But a lot of troops within the squad would carry an extra magazine or two within their pack, so if the BAR was starting to run a little low, they could take that out, throw it at them. They all used the same ammunition. It was 30-06. So if the rifleman needed that ammo, he could just take out an end block, swap some out of that magazine, good to go, no problems, or vice versa. This thing is designed for more of a suppressive fire type thing. So one of the best uses that I've seen at a battle is I was pretty much alone in a little wood patch, and I waited for the maneuver element to get to a certain spot. They gave me the signal, and I just rained hell on those guys. And I did. And my wallet felt every single shot, but it was fantastic because I was sitting there just round after round, just keeping them at bay. Because no matter what you say, this BAR sounds vicious as anything, even if you're in a semi-automatic. Even then. If you control your fire rate fast enough, you can even mimic the slow rate of automatic fire. I am not good enough to get the fast automatic fire, but that's just me. Alright, so if you can afford one, I'd recommend it, but just be advised, they are painful. Ohio Ordnance is really the only people that make them right now. There has been some talks of some BFONGs floating around, but that was pre-COVID. I haven't heard anything since, so there's probably not going to happen. There are parts kits that are floating around if you want to try and make your own, but make sure you abide by all ATF laws and all that kind of stuff, okay? This one in front of you is an Airsoft variant. They do actually make pretty solid ones. It's metal body. I took some Parkerization type paint. I'll put a link in the description when I find it. And it turned out pretty solid. I again don't recommend Airsoft as far as reenacting goes because the sound is going to be dramatically different. If you show up with an electric rifle, no one's going to hear you, no one's going to paying attention to your shots. But for displays, they work fine because, I mean, it looks pretty freaking similar. These, I have noticed, the joint between the receiver and the barrel is not exactly the strongest thing in the world. I've not found a fix yet, but I'll be honest, I have not looked that hard. So there might be something out there for you to pull for that one. One other word about the accessories is the sling is different for the BAR. I believe you can use a standard grand sling, but I would recommend going for the specific. They are longer and thicker, so that way it doesn't cut into your shoulder as much, and it is a longer gap between the sling swivels typically than a grand. Ohio Ordnance ships out with a M1 style, the cotton web sling. It works. I think those were super late war. I'm not sure. I don't really know for sure on that one at all. But the leather one, I mean, it's timeless. If you get a leather sling, you can't really go wrong. So that would be my recommendation on that one. Other than that, blank adapting, super easy. All you gotta do, swap out the flash hider. It's literally that easy. So this piece right here comes off, and all you need is a wrench to pull it off, and then there's a set screw that goes inside it, and there you go. You're off to the races. I use, what's his name? Joe Swanson blanks. He's the only one that makes the full length BAR blanks, the last I've seen, and without that you have to modify every single magazine in order to make it work. So that's why I use his. I don't have to modify all 13 magazines I bring with me to the field. That's going to be a lot of money at that point. So, alright, well, hopefully we see a couple more BARs out there, although I know, like I said, one more time, they are very expensive. I wish Ohio would just drop that a little bit, just a little bit. I think they can do it, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Alright, thanks y'all.